Hi
Hi,
Sagar,
Pooja.
hi
How are
Sudhanshu.
you?
Hey, Sudhanshu.
Hello,
Hi, Anindya.
Anindya. Hi, Sudhanshu. All right. So, as we're getting started, I also wanted to talk about that Fractal works extensively in the pharma commercial analytics space. And so, today we will be talking about how data scientists and data engineers can shape their careers in the pharma commercial analytics domain. We will be discussing and addressing the opportunities and challenges in the pharma commercial analytics space in this today's webinar. Also, we have three guest speakers with us who have worked extensively in this domain. A warm welcome to Sagar Shah, Anindya Sen Gupta, and Sudhanshu Chaturvedi. Hi, hello. It's great to have you guys here. I would request you to give us like a quick introduction about yourself, your journey so far, a little background.
Sudhanshu, why don't you start?
Sure. Thanks, Sagar. So, I'm Sudhanshu Chaturvedi. I work as a client partner in Fractal and predominantly focus on the life sciences and pharma domain. So, I started my journey 2 decades back as in consulting, did consulting in multiple domains, then in a part of industry agnostic advisory, and that's when I got introduced to pharma. And my journey started in pharma commercial space around 12 years back. I worked in a lot of areas, including sales force effectiveness, marketing, omni-channel, working with various global clients and solving a lot of various business problems that they were facing. And that has been a journey, and I'm really happy to be here and talk about the real world that I really like is the pharma commercial space. Thanks.
Thanks, Sudhanshu.
Anindya?
Anindya, would you like to go next?
Hey, hi, Anindya here. I have been a veteran in Fractal. I have been in Fractal since 2007 and have worked across different domains in Fractal, solving problems across different businesses and worked in both data science, data engineering, consulting space. Right now, I'm working as a client partner in the healthcare and life sciences space and insurance space, and looking forward for this discussion.
Nice to meet you, Anindya and Sudhanshu. Welcome. I'm Sagar Shah, client partner at Fractal in the pharma domain and also leading Dimension strategic unit interdisciplinary to solve problems. And I've been with Fractal the same as Anindya, 15 years, and we have enjoyed our time together across various domains. I am a CPG expert on a pharma call, right? So I'm still learning pharma with experts like Sudhanshu being here. They'll be teaching me, and together we will be building the pharma practice globally. We have a few clients now, and we are emerging into this space with a lot of energy, enthusiasm, and of course our 23-year-old success at Fractal. So we'll talk about all of this in the next few minutes. Over to you, Pooja.
Thank you, Sagar. It's really good to hear from you guys. As we're already on this topic, I think the very important question that we have to discuss today is about how can people with technical knowledge shape their careers in pharma commercial analytics?
Sure. So I think I'll give a little background of the pharma commercial space before we actually address this question. So pharma industry has always been very hungry about data, and predominantly for the reasons like the pharma company takes around 10 to 12 years to bring a drug into the market, and then they have 8 to 9 years to basically do as much as they can do in the market while the patent is there, and they can recover as much as money from it, and also address as much as patient concerns and that are there in the market. Now this whole commercial stage basically starts from pre-launch, launch phase, to the entire product life cycle until the end of the patent, and some activities beyond that as well. Now, while these stages happen, there are a lot of activities that happen, and there's a massive data that pharma companies generally deal with. So, be it sales data, there are a lot of claims data which is related to payer. They come from different sources. There's a lot of patient data which companies are now using, and a lot of real world data that comes from the healthcare domain. And the bigger challenge that companies today face is how do we deal with this data? How do we bring it together? How do we integrate, harmonize? How do we look at data quality and governance? So this is an important area where pharma companies face a lot of challenge today, and predominantly because now with the digital age, the multi-channel data is also in, and this has become a big challenge for pharma. Now, once they deal with the data challenge, the next is actually looking at how do we use advanced analytics and AI ML to basically solve challenges. For example, how do we target physicians better? How do we understand physicians' prescription behavior? How do we predict what will be the propensity to write for us? That is a bigger challenge that advanced analytics has to solve, and pharma companies are trying to solve today. Another area is the patient, where they want to understand patient journeys, treatment pathways, and how do we basically pitch in there and make sure that the patient life is healthier and we contribute there. So these are the challenges that they're trying to handle. And while we talk about this space, the prediction is that this space is growing CAGR at 20%. And there's also prediction that by 2027, we are looking at a $9.5 billion dollar market. And a lot of companies are trying to be in this space because this is the space where you have with major value that you can add to not only pharma companies, but also to patient life. So this is the background. And since I talked about all the stages, so obviously we need people in this space who are good in data engineering, who understand the concept of governance, data quality, who understand how the modeling can be done, how the data can be used. They can understand how AI ML can be used to basically predict for the future. And these are the various areas that are very good areas to be in as a career as well. So I'll take a pause here. Anything to add in India, Sagar?
You're on mute on India. Nope. I think you just remove the earphone, I guess, and just talk.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
So, so just to add on to what Sudhanshu was saying, right? Being a data scientist from my career, all through my career, I think every data scientist aspires to work on more complex problems, right? And more complex data structures and everything. Whatever minimum experience that I have in pharma, my understanding has been there are so many therapeutic areas like oncology, dermatology, cardiology, so many therapeutic areas. Then there are generics. So every therapeutic areas has their own rules, has their own data structure, has their own ways of working, has their own dimensions, own KPIs to capture. So there are a huge amount of work that can happen within the pharma commercial space. So therefore, uh, as a data scientist, I will say that it is very important to understand that this is a space which has been bit traditional in nature, has been more conservative in nature, I would say. But with the passage of COVID, specifically after COVID months, what has happened is that they have moved towards a phase where we are seeing a lot of data work, lot of digital movement from a personal touch of person to person touch. It is moving to a digital kind of a world, right? And therefore a lot of work is happening across different areas, across different problems. So as a data scientist, I would say that I am very excited in working in the pharma space in this journey, and I'm sure that many of the budding data scientists are people who have just doing their they have extensive experience in this industry, will find it very encouraging in working in the commercial analytics space. Sagar, your thoughts on this?
Thanks. A lot has been said. So I'll step back a little bit. I looked at the CPG industry for about 15 years, and we've done a lot of successful client work across 50 plus Fortune 100 clients and CPG Fortune 500 clients. And when I entered the pharma practice, I'm still learning, and I enjoyed the excitement with which the clients speak about pharma analytics and how commercial pharma traditionally has been around, call center optimization, HCP targeting, marketing mix modeling, which is of course the bread and butter of what we do. However, the innovations that I'm seeing in the market, right, those are quite mind-boggling to me. For example, we are engaged on a project called Next Best Action, where we are suggesting which time of the day, which channel of marketing vehicle should the salesperson or the medical representative target HCP, right? And what is the win-win situation that we can arrive at? And of course, there's a lot of AI that goes behind these models. There's a lot of engineering on the cloud, which is operationalizing the solution. There's a lot of behavioral science and design, which goes into the channel messaging. How should the medical representative talk? How should they nudge? What is the right behavior? And all of that. So that has been an exciting project. There are a few others we are working on. Of course, the HCP targeting, the promotional analysis, key driver analysis. There's some exciting forecasting work, drug forecasting, work, which is I used to do forecasting for CPG, and this is completely different, and it's quite interesting and involved, I would say. Um, then there is an interesting project called vaccine hesitancy. How do you grow? What are the growth opportunities for every vaccine in the market globally, right? Because of COVID, everybody's started asking questions. Should I take a vaccine? Is it effective? Before COVID, nobody asked these questions. Even if it was not effective or effective, people didn't go into data science about the vaccine. Now people are asking the questions and ignoring the anti-vaxxers. Even the general population have started asking questions. I am still questioning whether I should give the COVID vaccine to my kid, 3-year-old kid, right? So that's the general hesitancy that has crept in, and it's a behavioral issue. It's not a data issue right now. So we, of course, we looked at all the data. We built an AI model in Excel. Excel can build AI models, by the way, right? So we did that, and then we are thinking, okay, how do we scale this now in AWS? But also parallelly, how do we increase interventions from the marketing team so that they can capture the opportunity areas or hotspots? Let's say Bombay, Santa Cruz has a hotspot where people are not taking vaccines, right? So we have to educate or make people aware. There are policy campaigns that we can run from partnership with government, partnership with municipal corporations, with the pharma company marketing team can actually go there and visit some maybe houses and go door to door and so on. So there are so many things that can happen. Of course, a win-win for the business and the member, consumer, patient. But that's the exciting space we are in, where traditional pharma is moving to innovations, right? And how do we take AI engineering, the power of data to solve some of these problems? And some of my favorite work that's going on, responsible AI. How do we use data science effectively, but also ethically? Because there's so much regulation, there's also a question on whether we are doing the right thing, right? If we, let's say, use AI to increase the price to $1,000 for a truck, from $2 to $1,000, that's not ethical. So we will worry about those issues also and be in the guardrail so that we are not harming the environment, the equity, the life of people, being sustainable to the planet, and so on. And the other interesting piece of work that's going on is metaverse. So we're building a metaverse for a pharma company. Now that's pretty exciting for anybody, right? And it's almost at the fringe of AI. I would say it's more IoT and Web 3.0. It's almost 1990s of the internet, right, where the metaverse is today, and we are experimenting, exploring those areas with our clients as well. So yeah, it's been a very exciting time, and data engineers, data scientists, designers, behavioral scientists, all have a part to play in this journey. We at Fractal are, of course, very gung-ho and proud to be in this space. We are hiring a lot, and we'll, of course, share some insights on how anybody can vouch to be successful, even from our personal stories. Like Anindya, I remember in 2007 when Anindya was there versus what he is now, right? That career path is quite revealing, and maybe we'll talk about that in a minute. Pooja,
That
over to you.
was, yeah, thanks, Sagar. That was quite interesting, actually. And now that you were already talking about it, I wanted to ask, so what is the one thing you would suggest a candidate to be successful?
Sudhanshu, let's go over.
Sure. So I think there are many things, but if I have to put it together as a summary, there are three things that are very important. So one is definitely your technical skills, which is if you are into data side, your data engineering expertise. If you are into AI and advanced analytics, the technical skills in terms of like how well can you create a model in Python? You understand the business, the statistics behind it. How the models run. That is the first part of it. The second is basically, as Anindya was mentioning, it's a very complex world. To understand the nuances of the pharma company, the industry, and the therapy area that you're working, also the geography that you're working in. So that's the second part, which is very important. So you have to build these two together. And the most important part is the third one, which is the problem solving. So you have to bring these two things together and solve the problem that the pharma company is facing today. So if you really like to, solve problems and bring these things together and work on it, then this is the right area to work in, and it will, help you a lot in your career. But these three things coupled together is very important for me.
Yeah, I think Shudanshu has just hit the nail. Nothing much to add. One thing that I would definitely say that we need to be very clear that sometimes not complex models gives the most effective solution to the to a problem. The most effective solution to a problem can be by defining a dashboard also. So that understanding is very important on that what is the aim that what are we trying to solve? We are trying to create the value and trying to solve a problem for our client. So when we are thinking that one thing should be that intent to solve the problem rather than just focusing on developing a model or just creating a data engineering architecture or something like that. No, the idea should be to solve the problem. For that, whatever is required, we should be doing that. I think that is the one thing that I would say is most important in my mind.
Okay. Thanks,
Yeah.
Anindya.
And
Sagar, do you have anything to add?
yeah, absolutely. I think I have a lot to add here. See, the way Fractal hires, right, and that philosophy is very consistent across all domains and all horizontals and capabilities, is humble, hungry, and smart. So we have to be humble that we don't know everything. We know very little. We are still learning, and hungry means you need to be able to serve clients, every day, even if they throw a new problem, they throw a bad problem, good problem, as Anindya said. Any problem is a good problem for us, and we have to solve the problem, right? It doesn't mean, oh, I am not using the best algorithm of the world. Doesn't matter. Even if you're using an Excel file or a Power BI dashboard or whatever software, right? Doesn't matter. You have to learn and deliver the client impact. And then finally, smarts, right? Are you smart enough to learn and implement new softwares, new techniques, new sciences, to communicate your impact to the world? It's not just about the doing; it's also about talking about it to the clients, to external world. Things like the webinars that we're doing, right? All of this is part of the journey. So those three tenets absolutely important. And you can see Anindya here, data scientist heading the pharma, life sciences, healthcare, insurance practices, right after 15 years. It's not a piece of cake in a company like Fractal. I have had a similar journey. I was a chemical engineer. I did CPG, I did data science, behavioral science, and now I'm sitting here, right? So it takes a lot to switch careers as well. Pharma is definitely new, and there's a very large shortage of pharma analytics in the world. So it's okay to not know pharma and jump in and start learning it as well, as long as you're hungry, humble, and smart. That's what I would say.
Some fantastic answers. Okay, I see we have a lot of questions, so we'll take them up now. Our first question is from Shwetank. He is asking, what skills are in focus for your team? What experience should I have if I have to build my career in pharma analytics?
I can go first. So, see, we are hiring at all levels. So it's not like you need to 20 years experience and all of that, right? So even if you're a fresher, let's say if you're zero experience or 1 year experience, you should have the aptitude to learn. Again, humble, hungry, smart. You should have done something in AI, analytics, machine learning, data science, or in general, some sciences, right? so that we know that you have an aptitude. Of course, we'll test you on the problem solving skills, communication skills. We'll give you a case study to solve a problem, real client problem, that you should be able to structure the problem correctly. You should be able to structure the solutions correctly. And it's not about the content alone, it's about the process. Are you asking the right questions, etc.? So all of those things will matter in the interview, and there will be multiple rounds. So you will look at you from a multiple dimension perspective as well, whether this person fits in this role versus that role. And we hire for Fractal first, so it's possible we'll be like, no, you don't fit in the pharma domain, maybe you fit in the CPG domain, or you fit in the insurance domain. That's also fine, as long as we know that you are great. So we'll carry out the process in that manner. Now, for specific commercial pharma, like if you are implementing an NBX solution for a client, right? Next best action. For that, we need a data engineer or an ML ops person or a data scientist, right? And we are looking only for that role. Then, of course, we will have to find that person very specifically. Commercial pharma, let's say 5 years work ex plus NBX experience plus data engineer experience. Maybe there are only 100 people like that in the world. So we'll have to find those 100 people and target, right? So we are also looking for those very specific experts. Like oncology is a big area, right? Oncology is a tough area. So if somebody who has spent 3 years in oncology, 5 years in oncology, they'll be much superior in the talent pool for us, because we can teach them data science, but teaching oncology can take much longer. So we'll take all those decisions as we go along, but that should not deter you. Please apply, and we'll take it forward.
Thanks, Agar. And this, Sudhanshu, is there anything that you would like to add?
I think
There are
nothing
many
to add right
questions,
now.
so maybe
I
we
think
should.
let's take the questions. There are many questions.
Okay, all right, sure, we'll go ahead. The second one is to Sagar. It's by Akshay. Akshay is asking, it'll be really great if you can speak more about how Fractal is using next best experience services in pharma.
Awesome. Hey, Akshay, we've been talking, so looking forward to this and the next call. So on the next best experience, right? So we have done, I don't know if you know, but we've done next best experience across multiple industries now, right? CPG, retail. It started with retail actually 12 years ago, if I'm remembering correctly, and then we scaled it to CPG. We did it for insurance, and then healthcare, and now finally pharma, where the tenets still remain the same. There is a business model or a value chain that we look at, and then what is the B2B and B2C impact of those, and then what are the data sets that are involved, what are the behaviors that we are trying to intervene in, and then what are the data engineering pipelines, the data science models or the algorithms. It uses a customer 360 at the start, which harmonizes all the data, and then we run the AI models, and then there is an intervention layer, which is the orchestration of all the insights to interventions through the intervention layer, and then it gets automated with the marketing cloud, let's say Salesforce Cloud, Viva, or whatever, right? And then that's being used by the end users as an interface to leverage all these learning. So that's the basic construct, and this applies to all industries. This is not just pharma. We've done it multiple times. We have a whole team called Customer Genomics in Fractal, which does this, and we have created billions of dollars of impact across multiple Fortune clients. Right? Go
All
ahead.
right. Well, our next question is from Mansell. Mansell is asking, what is your ideal commercial analytics interview process?
Yep, let me take this one. So, Mansell, Fractal, as Sagar was also mentioning, we have a very given way of interview process for every domain. The first idea is to see whether you have that humble, hungry, smart attitude to solve problems for clients. So that's the first thing that we look into. Once that is established, then there will be a couple of rounds where we assess your technical capabilities as well as your inclination towards learning new things, and also if it is a very pharma specific, as I was pointing out, that certain roles are very pharma specific. This thing, right? Therefore, we also require to understand your pharma specific knowledge. So these are a couple of rounds of interviews that will happen. The first thing is to look into the humble, hungry, smart attitude, the right attitude, whether you have it, whether you are catering to the values of Fractal. The next thing that comes into picture is that the technical skill that you're having, whatever the technical skills that you are having, and do you have that appetite to learn more? That's the second thing that we look into. The third thing is domain that teach you that you have it. If you don't have it, then again you have the appetite to learn. So these are the three things that we look into.
All right. Thanks, Anandya. Uh, our next question is from
There
Anirban.
are,
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to address Anirban and Devansh quickly. So for the interview process, the process that you've probably gone through already, if you have not received any feedback, the Fractal HR human capital team will reach out to you with the right feedback. Either it's go or no go or whatever process they followed with you at what round, I don't know, but they will reach out to you. So thanks for raising this. Somebody from Fractal will call you.
Yeah, thanks, Sagar. And
Anirban and
in case
Devansh.
there's, yeah, I'd just like to add, in case if there's anything that you want to add more to that question, you can feel free to write to Fractal Analytics hiring at fractal.ai. We would put this in the comments soon. So you can send in your question on the email ID here. Moving forward to our next question, we have it from Tarun. Uh, So Tarun has to say, I feel the solution for price justification and projecting the value of the price of your treatment options can be developed through certain economic analysis like HEO or HTA tools. I'm not really sure what Tarun has to address here, if you guys can help.
So I'm also not very sure of the question. So, but yeah, I agree. I think health economics, operational research, and as well as the real world evidence. These are the two areas which a lot of pharma companies are working on to basically predict a lot of these, basically solve these challenges. So definitely, these are the two areas where this also gets integrated with the other data sets, and we try to look at understand the treatment pathways, and that helps us to reach those conclusions. So I do agree up to some extent, yes.
All right. Thanks, Sudhanshu. Our next question is from Devansh, who says, I want to understand what exactly kind of commercial analytics projects are client working on that require data science experience.
So I'll talk about one,
Sudhanshu.
and then yeah. So there are many, and as in the early question we were talking about the next best experience and action. I think I'll just take one example of omni-channel where the first step basically was to basically understand and recommend actions to your salespeople, which basically you look at the physician prescription behavior, you look at their attitudinal markers, you create models to basically predict what physician has a higher propensity to write for your drug, and what frequency that is better to reach out to this person. How do you sequence your physicians reach out and all that? So a lot of modeling happens in that space. Then when you go to the next level of omni-channel, where you bring in a lot of channels, you make sure that your physician has an omni-channel experience. You basically have to do a lot of modeling to understand, and your targeting becomes dynamic, your call plans become dynamic. You also reach out with other channels, whether, for example, a sales rep goes to a physician and meets the physician in person, then your model immediately puts that physician in a sequence down for an in-person call and maybe recommend for an email follow-up or something like that. So those are the models that there are multiple models that run behind it to basically make sure that we have the right kind of reach out at the right time and the physician gets the right experience through various channels. So that is one of the examples that I can give that we have been on.
Thanks, Sudhanshu. Our next question is from Dhanraj. Dhanraj is asking, does Fractal works in process analytics domain?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that. Can you repeat the question?
Sure, I will. So Dhanraj is asking if Fractal works in process analytics domain.
Yeah. We do a lot of work in process analytics as well. So as I mentioned in the commercial space, so we work in all these areas, and we do a lot of work for the clients. And so the categorization of these various elements that we work on is basically looking at solving their problems on the data side, solving their problems on the modeling side, retuning their processes, making sure that their most of the spend is optimized. So it's a it spans in all areas that we work on. It includes all these areas under commercial. Just to talk about at a higher level.
All right. Thanks, Sudhanshu. Uh, Guys, we have a lot of questions and they're really interesting. But just a little time check as well, just to make sure that we also wrap everything on time. We will probably take two more questions, and in case if there are more questions and we haven't answered them, we will surely get them answered, and you can find them on on the page right here later. So let's just move forward.
I can directly answer the quick question from Sai on the metaverse, right? How is AR VR used in pharma? So metaverse in general is a of course new set of technologies, and AR VR can help with the augmented reality stuff in Web 3.0. In pharma world, it can be used in various capacities. First for testing experiments, global experiments, patient journeys. How can the workflows be improved using the metaverse? How can, like, say, a physiotherapy happen better when a doctor is far away? You're wearing a virtual device on the metaverse. You can actually move your hand better. They can guide you in that process because you can't move out of your home. An example being a COVID pandemic where there was no contact, right? So that's an example. The second is testing. The third is onboarding. So we are seeing a lot of interest in onboarding employees in the metaverse because, of course, it's a remote collaboration mechanism, and to protect the culture of when people are not meeting each other, trainers are not meeting, and there are thousands of people joining Fractal as well every year, right? So that's what we are doing at Fractal, and for pharma companies also. And we can talk much more about it. There'll be a web page on Fractal on this specifically in the next 1 month. Done,
Thanks,
Pooja.
Anush. Thanks. Our next question is from Kinjal. Kinjal is asking, what will be the impact of upcoming recession on pharma companies' commercial spending?
The only industry which succeeds in a recession is pharma. Let me just say.
Absolutely. I was about to
Yeah.
say that. We will not stop having our medicines, right? Even if it is a
Yeah.
recession, right? We have to have our medicines and we will all fall sick also. Without recession does not mean that we will not fall sick as well. So pharma industry, I think, does not suffer from this thing much.
Yeah. So I think on a serious note, that's very true. It's said that pharma industry is up to some extent, recession proof. But there are pressures, I would say, because at the end of the day, people who are paying for these drugs do not have money in hand. So there are definitely pressures. There are pressures in terms of you have a contracts with your payers. So those pressures do come in from the commercial side of it, and the pharma companies deal it. So the different therapies have different. Definitely on the specialty pharma, the impact is less than the other therapies as such.
Thanks, Sudhanshu. Uh, and we are almost up on time, but just before that, to all the three speakers that we have today, any last thoughts that you would like to share?
Yeah, I think we couldn't finish all the questions, so feel free to reach out to either of us on LinkedIn, on chat, on this webpage, however you want, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. I look forward to all your discussions. And yeah, of course, apply to Fractal, apply to all the open positions in Fractal. We have a lot. We love to talk to you, explore mutual fitment.
Sure. I just add, a small short note is that it's an interesting area to work in and a very interesting journey. So, be part of this journey, and it will be definitely fulfilling from career aspect as well.
I think same here. My own whole point is that this is something that I'm telling you, being a data scientist, this is something that you will enjoy a lot. And as every area has a lot of complexity and lot of new things to learn. So be open and just be ready to grab these opportunities in the space.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And with this, we will bid our farewell. Hope you all had a great time and this webinar was helpful and to your liking. For interested folks, you can apply on the link that we'll be sharing on the chat. For any queries, feel free to reach out to Fractal Analytics hiring at fractal.ai. Uh, all the answers that we weren't able to get here, we'll be posting them soon, so do keep an eye out. And thank you once again for joining us, and heartfelt gratitude to our guest speakers for today. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you. Have
everyone.
a good day. Bye
Happy
bye.
Thanksgiving. Bye.
Thank you so much. Oh, yes.